Hello and welcome and hello and good evening and welcome and good evening and hello and welcome and hello. My name is Danny Deals. You'll notice by my sort of relaxed whisper, this sort of after hours, after dark voice. It's Danny Deals After Dark, as a matter of fact. And thank you for tuning in to Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. Many of you are used to hearing me talk exclusively about the SoFi stock, SoFi Technologies Incorporated. Today is going to be a little bit different. A lot of you have been leaving me comments, and maybe not you, but maybe other people and have asked me to talk again about some of these penny stocks that I love. I kind of love hunting down penny stocks, investing in them. Of course, they do not make up the core of my portfolio or my investment strategy. In fact, penny stocks, I think, should be seen largely as an amusement, as a hobby, and as somebody I really like on YouTube is Chris Norland. If you've ever seen him, it's like kind of a really kind of plain spoken, like boring type of guy, but he does a lot of videos on scammers and different things like that. He calls penny stocks like lottery tickets, and he highly recommends that you don't buy them um, because you're probably going to lose all your money. And he's absolutely right. And that's why the name of this new program is Penny Stocks Are Stupid. And in keeping with that theme, you'll notice the douchey knit cap, circa Seattle 1996, the grunge movement. There's a lot of things about my look that are easy to criticize, but let's get past that, folks, and let's focus on what's important. That's losing a lot of money on some very, very foolish penny stocks. What are you looking for? Hello and welcome, Not a Lurker. Thank you for joining us. Again, I'm sorry it's so late. I did not want to keep you up. I know you have work and different stuff. Um, so thank you, sir. J Money is moderating the chat. Thank God. This can get a little bit wild because we are talking penny stocks. Guys, it is Danny Deals. Trying to figure out how to work my computer. Sorry, guys. I'm not that bright. As you may or may not know. But anyway, guys, so we're going to talk about three stocks today. Tenax Therapeutics was a stock that was in the news, ran way up, more than doubled on patent news again. This is a tiny, tiny, tiny nothing cap. It's not even a micro cap. If you're a woman, you wouldn't even laugh at it. You wouldn't even know what it was because the market cap on this thing is like may as well be zero. They just did an 80 for 1 reverse split, got hammered down again. Came out with patent news. They also had site selection news. So these guys have two drugs, Aminatib and Levosimendan. And before I get knee deep into Tenax Therapeutics, uh, I just want to warn you: do not invest in penny stocks. Do not buy any of these stocks. Do not even think about buying any of these stocks. You might say, well, Annie Deals, you're really smart and you buy. No, I'm not, folks. Um, these stocks are a lottery ticket. These stocks are a swing for a home run. You're looking at a risk reward profile that is not favorable to anyone. Um, a lot of these stocks, unless you're extremely careful, and even if you are extremely careful, a lot of these stocks are a fugazi. They're scams. They should never be public companies. They're nowhere close to actually making dollar one. They go in this sort of loop, this sort of death spiral that only feeds salaries and money to the company insiders and certain perhaps short long hedge funds that work with certain smaller investment banks that do offerings. I mean, 10x is an example. The last Roth did their last offering. They were looking for a strategic alternative, like searching for their pud in the dark, and all they found was a huge shit sandwich. That's all Roth was able to generate after, a long time of looking. And you're talking about two good drugs, P3 ready, not a lot of debt, and it's just sort of it's very concerning why they weren't able to make a deal. Um, What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing tonight? Ross, Colombian Kingpin, hello and welcome. Beach Boy, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. Flint Creek Soap Company bought Tenax. You fool! You fool! Haven't you learned anything? Not a lurker. Thanks for joining me. Flint Creek, J-Mac, Brian. Good to see you guys. So basically what happens, guys, is these companies have some kind of idea, some kind of drug. There's usually a founder who's been with the company for a long, long time, probably a crotchety old man. Think about, the old guy in Back to the Future, or a physician or researcher with a cane and like a southern accent, like, come on in, son, let me tell you something about lavosamend. And he sounds like the water boy, sounds a bit like Adam Sandler. But they have a short cash runway, and then basically the shares are shorted and dumped because they can't move on in the process, whether it be the next phase of their FDA trial, some type of research. Maybe if they've passed that point, it's commercialization. They can't stand up the drug. That's happening with another, horrible investment that I made in a company, GMDA, Gamida. I bought the thing, and then right after I bought it, they got FDA approval for their therapy. Um, and then the stocks fell apart, ran up to like 250, then it ran down to 80 cents, just completely tanked. Because they don't have any money for commercialization, and they were kind of caught off guard. They're caught a bit unawares. So the sharks got a hold of it, the short long players get a hold of it. Once they short it down, dump it down, the stock has to undergo a reverse split. Then what'll happen is they'll get together with some turd, Roth Capital, one of these two-bit companies, and then they'll pump the stock on news. When they pump the stock on news, watch for the horrible dilutive offering. That's what generally happens. I don't care if it's JAGX, I don't care if it's 10x. The exception would be the third stock that I'm going to talk about with you, lucky folks, this evening. And thank you for joining me. Don't forget to tip your waitresses generously. They work very hard. Many of them are single mothers trying to put themselves through community college just to become a nurse. And how dare you step on those dreams? So, you tip your waitress, you cheap bastards. Don't tell, oh, all I have is Apple Pay. I'm sorry, I wish I could tip you. They take Apple Pay, you cheap motherfuckers. It's like Girl Scout cookies. All I have is Apple Pay. And the girls whip out a fucking credit card reader, eight kinds of things. Like, they take that. Don't try that excuse anymore. This is 2024. Girl Scouts take plastic, you cheap bastards. And don't tell them you can't have gluten, and don't tell them you can't have sugar. Buy some cookies. Buy some Thin Mints. Give them to a friend. Send them to me. It's a part of my diet. My doctor recommended I have more cookies and also cheeseburgers. No, he didn't. He didn't. So then what happens, guys? There's a horrible dilutive offering orchestrated by one of these companies where they hand 80 to 90% of the company to some hedge funds for basically usually anywhere from like 10 to 20 million dollars. Sometimes it could be 30 million, 50 million, just depends on the value of the assets. But you as an idiot, you as somebody who is stupid, somebody who wants to get rich quick, somebody who is undisciplined, somebody who is impulsive, somebody who has basically a track record of doing stupid things, somebody who has some amount of money in your pocket, you got some windfall, somehow you fell ass backwards into some money. And because you're going to liquidate those funds. You're going to lose them. You're going to put them somewhere. Why not put them into a penny stock? You go to Vegas, you could play a bunch of roulette, you could play some slots. Or as Chris Nolan likes to say, you could buy a lottery ticket and invest in penny stocks. With that disclaimer out of the way, I will say once again, never buy any of these stocks. But let's talk turkey, guys. So, what is 10x Therapeutics? Very small company in North Carolina. Founder moved out. The new CEO is Chris Giordano. He's a young guy, but he has a lot of experience pushing through trials. They have this new guy, CFO Lawrence Hoffman. He's a hired gun from Danforth, and then Stuart Rich, MD. He's a bigwig. He was with the FDA advisory committee that approves these drugs. He was with Precision Med. They bought out that company. So he was the chief executive officer. Now I think it's chief medical officer, Doug Randall. So basically what you have is a bunch of old, bald, white guys, bunch of blue hairs, I don't know what the fuck these guys are still working for. They're all a bunch of rich guys with thick eyebrows, a lot of, a couple of mustaches in here. A lot of them are catch-all. Do I trust any of these motherfuckers? No, I don't, because these guys are all rich. These guys all have a ton of experience. Why are they giving this whole company away for nothing? And why after they just did that, are they going to do it again? Why would you hire Roth again? I mean, they basically bent us over as shareholders, and a lot of these guys are also shareholders. But then the board of directors, you see, old Declan Dugan. I just love saying Declan Dugan. It's another, but he was with like King's College. He's a doctor from the fucking royal doctor from England, like June Elmhunhoff, Robin Hunter. They have a really good board. These are well connected people. Then the scientific advisory board, again, really an all-star team. I mean, this guy, Javed Butler, he's down from Mississippi, but he's the best of the best. So the science is there, the drug is there. So what's the problem? Why can't they get funding for their P3? Well, it's basically the hedge funds have these guys by the balls and nobody wants to give them funding with high interest rates. Funding's been higher and higher. What was the big news that pumped the stock today? What happened today? Basically, TENX surges after patent win for heart failure therapy. So they got this is like their third patent for levosimendan with HPEF. This one goes to different doses. It goes to the subcutaneous, the oral, the IV. So it just broadens the patent protection, broadens the IP through December 2040. And remember, guys, this drug is well proven. This was developed by Orion Corporation in Finland. It's been used in about half of Europe for 3 decades now. They were selling up to 200 million euros per year just based on the IV formulations. So Tenax provides these oral formulations. They also have another drug, Aminatib, that was Dr. Rich's drug at Precision. Now, they had a trial on that and it failed due to just gastric discomfort. But the drug works. So they reformulated the drug. It doesn't release the same in the stomach. That's another good drug, but they don't even have money to do the levosimendan P3 trial. But the good news is they selected 4 sites. They're ready to go. They're going to bend us over with another horrible, shitty offering, and it's just going to be great. The stock's probably going to sell off back down to zero, do another reverse split, rinse, repeat while these turds collect salaries for the rest of their natural lives while they keep just destroying us shareholders. But that's the way it goes with penny stocks, guys. Don't buy them. It's incredibly stupid. And then maybe you buy them and maybe they pop and they 10x and 10x isn't it's a great time. We're all eating steak and caviar and living in the south of France. But that's not going to happen, guys. You're going to lose your money because it's stupid. But Professor Javi Butler, some of these guys, them coming on the board, remember, there are no treatments for this type of heart failure, and the FDA is bending over backwards to approve this thing. They changed the structure of the P3 to allow it to go forward with the oral formulation. They were using an IV in phase 2. Okay. They also changed the endpoint to the 6-minute walk test, which it's already been shown that levosimendan improves. The FDA wants to approve this drug. They have no drugs. People are suffering with this condition. This is a life changer. This can allow people with this specific type of heart failure to maybe play with their grandkids, to attend a graduation, to attend a wedding when they otherwise may not have been able to. And there are no alternatives. The FDA knows this. And remember, Dr. Stuart Rich was on the FDA advisory committee that approves these drugs for years. He's the insider's insider. Okay. Another penny stock pumper, Dark Master. I don't really think I'm pumping the stock. I like this stock as far as penny stock goes, but the stock isn't necessarily going bankrupt. Look at the trial. The trial's going to happen. I mean, a lot of people like to say, "Oh, never buy penny stocks. All penny stocks are bad." But some of these companies actually do, persevere and move through and get these drugs to market. Yeah, thank you. Um, but yeah, it's a long shot. It's a long shot, Dark Master. Most of these time, probably 9 out of 10 of these companies are going under. You're going to lose all your money, and you should never invest money in these companies that you can't afford to lose and don't expect to lose. That's why I say, and I agree, they're a lottery ticket. It's high, 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 high risk. So never put any money into these things that you do not expect to lose, cannot afford to lose, But if you do your research and you think this is a good drug, like remember when Zacks did an analysis of this company middle of last year, they said each drug was worth about $300 million because the trials are there, the data is there. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. You guys can check it out for yourselves. And these patents are there. These patents are actually granted. And this drug is not a flyer. This drug has been used for this same exact thing throughout Europe um, for decades. So it's just a question of can they get this thing through the trial and actually get it to market? And if they can, it's worth a ton. Now, as Dark Master points out, if they can't, the thing's going bankrupt. And that's a very, very likely outcome. So you should go into this with your eyes wide open whenever you invest in penny stocks and know that it is highly, highly likely that you're going to lose most, if not all, of your money. But some of us are degenerates and we're still going to, go into these things. So I definitely wouldn't say I'm trying to pump this thing. Yeah, I'm down on this thing. Like, you know, it's when it pumped to 64 cents, I believe, and I sold a lot of my shares and it came back down. I bought, so that helped me recover some of my money, and that's the thing. Um there's a couple ways you can play these things, guys. Most people just play for the pump. They pay for the news that's going to then result in the horrible dilutive offering, the rinse repeat, the death spiral. Most of these, as I said at the very outset, most of these companies are scams, but not all of them. I mean, this drug is legit. The drug is legit. Is the company legit? Is the management legit? Time will tell. Is Roth legit? Roth Capital legit? I sure as hell don't like the deal they got last time. Are some of the hedge funds that bought those shares legit? No, but they paid 70 some cents a share. Now those shares are toilet paper. So how did they win? You know, how did they win? I don't, who won there? Roth is the only company that won, and the people getting the salaries in the company. Those are the only winners. Obviously, the people who bought the offering, got bent over a barrel. Us shareholders got our, nuts, got an atomic wedgie, for the world over. But it's the way it is, guys. I do hate you all. No, I hate penny stocks. I hate you. I hate everybody. I'm never coming back to school again. Um, yeah, Flint Creek knows this history, guys. Good night, Brian. Have a good one. Guys, I got to get off 10x because I'm already going long on this thing. I'm already starting to annoy some very important people in the investment community. Uh, but anyway, guys, I'd encourage you to take a look at this. They are starting this P3. We have to see what happens with funding. I guess the fairy tale, the dream that all of us little girls go to bed at night hoping for, it's not that we're going to meet a prince, it's that they're going to get a buyout offer. There's going to be some kind of deal. There's going to be some kind of partnership for the P3. And we're going to wake up and we're going to check our stocks, and TENX is going to be up like 15,000%. Guys, it ain't going to happen. The news will be a pump and dump, but if they can get this drug to market, it could be very lucrative. It could sell hundreds of millions of dollars a year. But again, it's a long shot. So, guys, take a look at 10x if you want to. If you have any common sense, don't. And buy an index fund, buy QQQ, buy, SoFi if you're me, but do whatever you want. But whatever you do, do not buy penny stocks because refer back to the title of this show, penny stocks are stupid. But some would argue so am I. So that's why I like to study these things. I own tons and tons and tons of different penny stocks, but I own small amounts of them for the most part. Yeah, like UBX, I own a lot of. That's gonna be our next one. Oh, guys. Um, yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of great info, guys. Basically, they got a patent. They ran a pump and dump. They're doing another offering with Roth. It is what it is, guys. I wish I had great news, but they haven't started the P3 yet, and we're hoping for a miracle. The good news is they do have some cash. They're not on the verge of like going out of business. They're working out of a virtual office. They have a shared meeting space. It's basically like, akin to like a Holiday Inn. Maybe they have free bagels. But they've cut all the expenses they can, but they are paying salaries, they are paying PR flack, they are paying attorneys, they are paying pat. You guys know anything about these companies? The IP is very, very costly. Paying these patent attorneys for years and years of work is just millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. So anyway, guys, moving on. I'm gonna try to go quicker. Sorry, I don't know how long I've been going on. My apologies. Lo siento. Beg you a thousand pardons, sir. But moving on, guys. This one is a lot more simple, so I can go a lot faster. I know I'm a bit verbose at times. I go on and on and on. Anyway, guys, UBX, Unity Biotechnology. This is a company that specializes in these new molecules that fight senescent cells. They're specifically, some of their other drugs failed, so they're focusing on diseases of the eye, specifically wet AMD and DME, diabetic macular edema, I believe. New publication in Nature Medicine supports therapeutic potential of senolytics to provide long-lasting. So these go in and they actually rebuild the tissues. The other drug that they have, such as like Regeneron's Eylea, these actually attack the good and bad cell tissue, etc. So this kind of regenerates on the positive. It's a totally new thing. It's a totally novel thing. I'm no scientist, obviously, but you have to read about how it works. The good news is the bad news is on wet AMD, they basically fell off a cliff. So if you look at the chart, it was where was it? It was somewhere. Oh, I don't know. It should be easy to see. Yeah, it basically fell. Sorry, guys, I was ill prepared for this video. Um, but right here, so we came in at 415 and they had this failure on the wet AMD. What basically happened is the standard of care had this unusual spike in efficacy that when the patients had not been responding to the care. So it was kind of an odd data set and an odd trial, but it didn't really fail. The wet AMD data wasn't too bad. But the DME data has been consistently outstanding. They may be able to use their drug, UBX 1325, in combination. But right now, they just dosed their first patients, I believe, a month or two ago with UBX 1325 in a head to head phase 2B study with Regeneron's Eylea, which is the standard of care for DME. And they expect some top line data readout to come at the end of 2024. The good news is Unity Biotechnology has a strong cash position. They will be able to run through 2025. They just got an upgrade from Wedbush to $4 in a buy. That was in November. Another upgrade reiteration at $10 from HC Wainwright, also in November. So good ratings, good cash position, no debt, really strong DME results, got wet AMD in their back pocket, which could also be another one. So this is an example of a really well managed penny stock that isn't quite as high of a risk. And, it may be worth a look because the market cap is very, very low. And, if that top line data comes out at the end of the year and it looks good and it looks like this thing could actually get to market and a phase three, then they become a prime buyout candidate. Then this company should be worth, at least 10 times what it's worth right now. But Unity Biotechnology, UBX, certainly worth a look. I think it qualifies as a higher quality penny stock just to kind of kick it around. Um, so anyway, guys, yeah, it's a stupid hat, I know. Anyway, guys, moving on to our third candidate. It's probably one of the worst ever. Jaguar Health, ticker symbol JAGX. They make basically the diarrhea drug. They're kind of a cool company. They specialize in going to the rainforest and finding natural substances that can be commercialized and put through trials and patented and stuff and brought to the Western world. This one is basically a substance. It's from, like, I forget the exact name, but like Lachery tree. I can't remember the exact name. It's been a long time since I've done all my research on this stock, but it's got a lot of potential. I know at one point the Gates Foundation was talking about how this could be the most widely used substance on earth. It's been used, approved by the FDA for HIV indication for a long, long time, but the sales have been very low. They also have another company, Napo Pharmaceutical, which is an Italian company. They own most of that one. So they're getting, they're looking at novel treatments. They're looking at short bowel syndrome, all kinds of other treatments, anything that has this sort of basically congenital or onset of diarrhea. The holy grail, though, is CTD, cancer therapy related diarrhea, which affects a great many people receiving cancer therapy. It causes them to modify, to drop out of therapy. It's a huge, huge problem related to cancer treatment. So that's the P3. Now, the really odd thing that happened was they were supposed to release top line data around Thanksgiving. and the data never came. And we've never got a good example of how management cannot understand that they're not going to be getting their P3 data. It's just very weird. Yeah, interesting choice. A diarrhea stock for you turds. Exactly, hockey rink. But guys, I got to get through this. Got to get to bed. Big day tomorrow. I got to get up and buy some sofa. I know. So anyway, guys, they have not been provided with the company's good clinical practice vendors. So it's a third outside vendor, Napo's P3 trial, evaluating crofelemer for prophylaxis of diarrhea in adult cancer patients with solid tumors receiving tire. So we remain blinded to the results of the study at this time. It's our paramount near-term milestone, said Lisa Kant, Jaguar's president and CEO. We look forward to announcing and presenting the top-line data. So they don't say. A lot of people are speculating for some reason that they could be out in February or March. It's nothing really to indicate that's true, but there's a lot of exciting things going on around this company. It's like if you looked at this, you wouldn't believe that, you know, each share would be worth, I think, like $1.7 million when you account for all the reverse splits and offerings and just dilution and just insanity. This is one of the worst ones I've ever seen. And that was only in like 2015. So, but you can't look at where it was. You have to kind of look at where it is. And the market cap's 4.71. They do have some debt. They do have some bad entanglements with some really questionable financing. Rhymes with rusty knife. You have to look at actually who's providing the money, how bad those deals are, because then it prevents others from investing. It prevents other deals going forward. But this P3 CTD trial is a huge, huge catalyst, and the market cap is so, so low as to almost functionally be zero. So if they can get P3 approval and actually start writing prescriptions and get distribution and actually get this thing to market, this is another one. It's a garbage company, garbage management. They've been horrible. It's just horrible. It's probably going to zero. But if for some reason it doesn't, those that kind of stuck it out and went down with the ship might be somehow rewarded. But again, you're probably going to lose all your money. Vincent Jaworski, what's up? How you doing, Vincent? I am well. I'm a little bit tired, looking to go to bed here, but good to see you guys. I hope everybody is having a good evening or day, depending on where you are. But so Jaguar Health falls after update on P3 trial for plant-based drugs. So this is back on November 21, and you can see the dramatic drop if you go ahead and look at the chart. I think we could see it here. So yeah, this is November. You get the pump, everyone's expecting the data, then the dump, and then it just continues to dump. Because everybody was kind of expecting they'd get readout here. And then they'd say, hey, we're not getting readout for months. And then obviously the stock falls off a cliff back to all-time lows. Just totally terrible. So again, has yet to receive top-line results from on-target phase 3 for the plant-based drug crofelemer. Studies designed to evaluate crofelemer preventative treatment cancer-related diarrhea. So they currently market the drug as Mytesi for non-infectious diarrhea, adult with HIV/AIDS. NAPO and all key study-related personnel remain blinded to study results at this time. It's the paramount. So again, there's not been any explanation. Another promise they made was there not going to be any more dilution until these results came out in November. However, since the results were never out, what does that mean for that promise or that, assurance? Again, I think assurances from CEO Lisa are absolutely worthless because she just destroys so much shareholder capital while collecting a very generous salary, basically, for completely giving this company away an untold number of times and just, lining her own pockets. So I don't know. It's one of those things where you wonder, how does the law work where these people are allowed to run public companies this way and somehow it's all legal and they don't get locked in prison for the rest of their life? You just have no idea. But it is what it is, and we are where we are. And all of those previous shareholders that their money has been destroyed have sort of brought us to this point. And does that create an opportunity, or does it create a huge bull trap that you're going to rush into and then lose all your money? Probably the latter. But again, an interesting stock, an interesting company. They also had announcements. They're working with several other companies they're partnered with. They're testing companies for psychoactive properties for everything from addiction to ADHD. So this sort of plant-based, they said the rainforest is the world's medicine cabinet, and Jaguar and Napo are actually trying to do something about it. So it's an interesting company. The bologna sandwich is Giuliano Bologna, the five head Dolph. I love the name Dolph Ziggler. That is probably the greatest single name I've ever heard, other than Jason Joseph and perhaps David Redliner. David Redliner, you know, just a name that means business. But Dolph Ziggler, that's just an outstanding moniker. And it's a good handle, and I like it. Yeah, the bologna sandwich, the five head, again, I'm trying to not call people names. I'm trying to not be so hateful and negative. Everybody's so sensitive. Everybody's such a snowflake. But anyway, guys, I try to make it a little bit funny because otherwise it's just dry as toast. But guys, I want to thank Not a Lurker. I want to thank Princess J. I want to thank Cutes. I want to thank Hurricane Lopez and Stalk Karen and all those other. Vincent is on SPZI. I am not familiar with that company, but I will take a look at it and I will write it on my yellow pad right here because, frankly, anyone named Vincent Zaworski, Dolph Ziggler, I've got a lot of good names. Yeah, everybody talks about Uncle Bruce. He seems like a good guy. Reminds me of an older version of Biff from Back to the Future. He kind of looks like Biff if he got older. He'd be like, some signing. Like, seems pretty cool. But hey guys, I appreciate it. I hope all you guys have an absolutely wonderful evening. And that is the very first Penny Stocks Are Stupid with Danny. I appreciate you guys watching. And I hope you guys have a great night. And I will talk to you again real soon. Thanks for watching. For again, appreciate you, J Money, moderating the chat. I'm out of here. Good night, guys.